IVM.
Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach Podcast, the bite-sized podcast filled with quick and easy actionable habits. Remember, great habits create that awesome life. I am Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach. And today's fun fact of the day has to do with the show Big Boss. Did you know that the original version of the show was aired in 1999? And the show was called Big Brother and was aired in the Netherlands. It was called Big Brother after a concept that came from a book by George Orwell called 1984. The book was about the future and how society would be run by a system that watched all the citizens. There were cameras everywhere and everything you did was recorded. It was a very scary concept at the time. The system doing the recording and the governing of the society was called Big Brother in that book, and hence the name used for the reality show. The original Big Brother was shot in a very tiny house with no luxuries. There was no personal space and everyone was in each other's face. In fact, this format of reality show is also a great experiment in human behavior. How people respond to each other, react to each other, and interact with each other. However, what we end up seeing the most on our shows like this is the bitching behavior that exists. People talking behind each other's back, people saying mean things about each other, people lying, people backstabbing. And for many of us, this kind of behavior is not just observed on TV. This kind of behavior happens to us in real life as well. Many of us work in offices that have this kind of culture. There is a lot of politics being played. People bitching about each other, saying one thing here, another thing there. Some of us have this kind of bitching behavior at home as well. Between our relatives, parents, they say mean things about the other, brothers and sisters fighting. And in college or schools, or even amongst friends, gossiping and bitching. I know so many people who were stuck in these kinds of relationships, filled with bitching and backstabbing. The real problem arises when we begin to believe that we need to behave this way, say these things, bitch about others, backstab others, just to fit in or just to survive. We lose our sense of right and wrong. We lose our sense of humanity. And as your habit coach, I want you to realize that bitching is a behavior practiced by the weak. It is practiced by people who do not have a strong sense of self-worth and hence feel that they need to pull everyone down around them. I want you to be a strong person, running far ahead of everyone else, changing the world with good. And in order to do that, you have to learn one very important habit, the habit of walking away. Every time someone starts to bitch about something else, learn to stop the conversation and walk away. This is so important because if you do not do this, you will get sucked into the conversation. So your simple habit starts by recognizing when a conversation starts to get bitchy. When it begins to enter the space of being unhealthy for you, then learn to walk away. Just make an excuse and move away physically from that person. If you cannot physically move away, learn the art of changing the conversation, distracting them with something else. And this is a very important skill to have. Slowly, the people who bitch in your life will move away from you, making space for new people to enter. Hopefully, people who want to lift you up and watch you grow and win. Usually in a podcast, it's me who speaks to you and you who listens. But I've been seeing your comments and it's time. It's me listening to you. Following the overwhelming success of this podcast, the good folks at IVM Podcast Network have decided to come up with a Kannada adaptation of the show for those who prefer listening to it in that language. Do make sure you let your Kannada speaking friends know about this as well. So start these habits and share with us your progress using the hashtag #TheHabitCoach. If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I am Ashdin Doc on Twitter and Instagram. You can find lots more information on my website, awesome180.com, or check out different content on my YouTube channel called AWESOME180. That's Awesome180.
Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Raw and Organic, Kunal is joined by Divyanka Bedi, aka Gigi. She's the owner of a fitness studio called The Space in Mumbai. They discuss how the pandemic changed everything and how to start building a community. One of our favorite shows, The Habit Show, completes 3 years and 600 episodes. Congratulations to Ashdin and the rest of his team. Good habits lead to consistency. Ashdin clearly has them. 3 years and 600 episodes is an amazing achievement. In the world of Simplified, Chuck, Naren, Shrikeet, and Tony try to find out how distressing it is for billionaires to be taxed on their income. On All Things Policy, the Takshashila folk unpack the findings of the National Family Health Survey. And on Paisa Vaisa, Anupam talks to Preeti Khurana. She's the Director of Advocacy and Regulation at Clear, and they discuss filing your income tax return. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And also do check out our YouTube channels. We have a number of them. You can get them on ivmpodcast.com/YouTube. And remember, if you're enjoying this show, or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. It really does help us spread the word. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors for the network this week: Cred, Bank of Baroda, CoinSwitch, Kuber, Intel, and Oxfam India. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Do you wonder why China does the things that it does? Or want to know how we could improve online privacy? Or perhaps you're thinking about how we can kickstart India's economy. If you'd like to search for the answers to such questions, check out All Things Policy, a daily public policy podcast that covers everything from employment figures to aircraft carriers. Tune in from Monday to Friday for new episodes and fresh takes.